Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra.
And welcome, everybody, to the Bison Media Zone here on WDAY Extra each and every Wednesday throughout the year. It doesn't matter if we're in the off-season or not. We're talking Bison athletics here each and every Wednesday from 10:30 to 11. And we'll get to the NCAA track championships in our next segment. The Bison are sending 2 athletes to Eugene, Oregon. You'll meet them over the next few days. Matt Kraft from Bismarck, North Dakota, and Lexi Maples by way of New Zealand will be competing in the hammer throw and the javelin. That'll begin a week from today in Eugene. We'll preview that coming up in just a little bit. But football season never truly ends in Fargo, North Dakota, and I don't need to talk our next guest about that as we get ready. The countdown is already underway. I believe today we are 92 days out from the Bison opener against Colorado. Super pumped to have our next guest on, who's after another nice season on the defensive line. He's already graduated from NDSU. Now he's out in the workforce, but he's coming back. Got a couple more years to play. From Mandan, North Dakota, our pleasure to welcome Jaxon Duttenhefer into the Bison Media Zone on this Wednesday. It's great to see you. We were just joking. The offseason is so short, so tell us, how long is it? You're already back lifting and working out already, right?
Yep. We're big onto the the workouts and making sure that we're all staying safe, all staying strong. We can never really truly ever get away from Kramer, even if we are home. We get about a couple weeks off right around finals time. Get to go home if you want, take vacations if you want. But even if you are home, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in Hawaii or in the mountains somewhere over in Europe, you have to find a weight room. And then for sure, whenever we do come back, which is actually today for everyone, we're back in the NDSU weight room, and Kramer's watching us and Coach Napoli's watching us, and here we are.
Tell me about Coach Knapp. He had been here before. What was your initial impression of him, and what he's been like to work with over the last few months?
He's been an amazing addition to Coach Kramer's staff. He was here obviously earlier on in his career, the early 2010s. Took his own time and his own job at SEMO, and then he missed us so much that he wanted to come back. Him and Coach Kramer are very much cut from the same cloth. Yeah. Their intensity, their passion, but I think the big thing to take away is just their love for NDSU. They're true Bison through and through, and it's been a great time to have him in the weight room as well, and very early on in that relationship, and in his time here now as the assistant strength and conditioning coach. But so far, it's been awesome. The guys are loving him. It's been really fun.
Describe what your initial impression of Tim Polisic was, and what it's been like so through spring ball. Now you've gotten to know him over the last 5 months. What was the initial meeting like for you, and how that relationship has gone so far?
I would, again, I'll just kind of second it to kind of compare him to Coach Kramer as well. Just his love and passion for NDSU it's unmatched. That first meeting he had with us as a team, you can just tell that he loves this place. I mean, his backstory of him living in the Fargo Dome, and it's just the sheer care and desire that he has for this place and North Dakota itself. It's phenomenal, and that very much translates onto the field. Just with how he runs practices. He wants them sharp, crisp. We get in, get our work done, and get it done correctly, and then we're out still with that same intensity, whether at jobs or in the classroom or whatever we're doing. I think that's also just kind of a big thing with him, is like, it's not like he just turns it off when he's done being a coach. That is how he lives his life, and it is so dang impressive.
Now, you're actually working right now, so I don't want to get you in trouble here because you're taking a couple minutes out of the job. But for people that, I don't know, maybe that don't follow what you do during the summer, give us an update. And then Cole Payton was with us a couple weeks ago. He's working with the Red Hawks on top of obviously getting ready for summer conditioning and workouts. How did your job come about?
So my job came about last year. I actually took an internship here, working at an accounting firm here in town, and they liked me enough that they wanted me back, and I was very happy to accept that offer again. But it's very common for a lot of guys that we will lift at 5:30 a.m., work 8 to 5, and then run at 5:30 at night, and that's just kind of our summer time and our summer jobs. for me, it was actually required for graduation to have an internship. So it just kind of depends on your curriculum as well. But I mean, that's a lot of everyone's stories is we get up early before the sun rises and we're still working out when the sun sets. So
You mentioned to me off air you walked a couple weeks ago. What was that experience like?
it was kind of surreal, honestly. It just feels like yesterday I just popped on campus and I was just kind of the new kid in town, just getting to know Kramer, just getting to be in the program itself. And I mean, time flies. It truly does. But it was a goal of mine to get as much school done as I can and
Yeah.
try and better my career post football whenever that may be. And so it was a goal to graduate in 3 years, and I ended up accomplishing that goal. And so
That's awesome, man.
I'll
That's
go
so
on to grad school here and continue to get my master's degree. But yeah,
that's really impressive. I will tell you that right now. 3 years. That's that, and degree in accounting. What made accounting interesting?
I started taking some accounting classes in high school, and I just kind of kept running with it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, this has been a busy off season since the last time you played a football game. You mentioned you graduated, which is awesome. You got married in January. I was joking with you about this before the spring game. The weather, we had a great winter, except with your wedding day.
Yeah, my wedding day, I think it was negative 40-degree wind chill outside. There was a blizzard on the western half of the state, so a lot of people from Mandan still weren't even able to make it.
Oh man!
But the amount of people that did show up, I had all the D tackles show up.
That's awesome.
It was a great time, and it was a true blessing to just still be able to celebrate and get to marry my wife. So
were you worried about having to postpone? Was that on the table?
Never,
okay.
Never on the table. Yeah, it's same way with football, right? It doesn't matter if it's negative 40 or if it's 120. We're getting work done.
So So who were the groomsmen? Did you have current teammates? Who was involved in the wedding? Who did you have there?
So I had Cody Heisman as one of my groomsmen.
Nice.
And then I had Logan Kopp and Cade Powers as ushers.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, there was plenty of football people there. I invited all my coaches that were able to make it that weren't out either recruiting or doing this or that or the other thing. But no, I had a lot of NDSU faces, and it was fun.
That's fantastic, man. So you're newlywed and you're working, and oh, by the way, you got a football season coming up. That's a lot on your plate.
It's we get prepared for that since day one. Once you step on campus, those who stay will be champions. It doesn't matter if it's champions on the field or champions off of it. And if it wasn't for this program, I can tell you I wouldn't be prepared as a husband, as a worker in the workforce. If it wasn't for NDSU, that wouldn't be like I am.
I remember we were talking when you committed. COVID had just been a thing for our first couple weeks. It seems surreal. What do you remember about that time? About when NDSU was hot on you? Say, you know what? I'm ready. This is where I want to go to school. And how surreal that time was.
Yeah. I honestly don't think that surrealism has gone away. It's like every day I wake up and I'm so thankful I'm here. But yeah, during COVID, it's just a lot of uncertainties of, are we going to be able to get out of the house and actually go play football? Are we going to be able to have a work where I can actually go in and work in person? Obviously, things just kind of panned out as they did, and COVID's not as much of an issue nowadays. We've found ways to help with that, whether it's vaccines or masks or whatever. And it continues to, it feels like there's that new normal where you have that flexibility to do things online. Like, shoot, I'm Zooming with you right now.
Yeah.
If you would have said that 4 or 5 years ago, it probably would have been an in-person interview.
Yep.
So there's pros and cons to what COVID brought along, but I think the appreciation for in-person interaction, being able to play a game that you love, do a job that you love, I think that was my big takeaway. But again, same thing, NDSU, the football program, it really helps that appreciation every day.
Describe last year personally for you on the field. Totally different from what 2022 was when Eli got hurt and you and Cody both got thrown into the mix. How would you evaluate yourself personally in 2023?
You know, with the opportunities that were presented for me, either with playing time or whatever it was, I felt like I made the most of it. Obviously, when you have older guys that have more experience, that's how the dice are rolled. And not mad about playing time or tackles or whatever. And it's not about stats, and it never should be for anyone. It's about what did you help to do to contribute the team? Did you make those ahead of you better? Did you make those behind you better? Did you make our scout offensive line better? Just those things that aren't on the stat sheet. I mean, as a team, it was a solid year. We fell short of our goals and our expectations of our team and our program, and we fell short of those standards. And I mean, we're continuing to hammer out and keep those goals and continue to set high standards. And that's what the summer's about, and that's what we'll continue to lead into the fall with.
I got to ask here about that group, your defensive tackle group, with almost everybody back. Obviously, Javier moving on. Give us the sense of where you guys are at, and maybe a couple of younger guys that maybe we could maybe see in 2024.
Absolutely. I mean, we're a very close-knit group. The amount of times that we all just kind of go out and go get sushi sometimes, it's hilarious.
Sushi, really?
I also think I think that restaurant hates us, honestly, at times. We go to Izumi. Just give them a little shout out. It's all you can eat sushi. I mean, come on. Like, you have
I would not have thought that.
I
would not have thought that's the place you guys would go. I'm actually shocked at that one. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's one, really good food. But two, it's just we all just hang out and chat and BS whatever we need to do. But we're a very close knit group, and at the same time, we continue to get each other better, whether it's pushing each other in the weight room, on the field, and drills, in the classroom, in school, making sure we get on each other about grades, whatever it is. Obviously the most starts, they're elders at this point,
Yes.
almost, retirement years at this point with how long they've been around. I mean, me and Cody are the next two that are kind of that next, I don't know, generation, if you want to call it. But Keenan Wilson's been really good. He's had a really good spring, continuing to develop. And then Brendan Palmer, same thing, has a really solid frame on him, continuing to get in the playbook, continuing to get better. Again, both of those kids had phenomenal springs, phenomenal. So, I mean, we'll see how the summer goes, continuing to develop, but then also fall camp. A lot can happen in the next 3 months before that first game. So,
how difficult, Jackson, is that position to play as a young player when you're going up against Cody Mauch or guys that are 5 or 6 year players and you are a year removed from high school?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that when you're on scout team, and I actually think my entire offensive line that I went against my scout year is in the NFL. So was I making them better? I hope so. Don't know if I did, because you're fresh out of high school. But I mean, the skills, the mindset, the physicality that I had to learn going against those guys made me a much better player. I think the thing that a lot of people don't recognize is the mental side of football. I mean, the playbook is ginormous at times. Depending on what call, depending on what pressure, depending on what check the defense has called up, you can have literally 3 plays and have 3 different things that are not even close to the same movement. Obviously, your fundamentals, like pad level, hands, physicality, whatever, that's going to be that's every play. But what you're doing and how you're doing it is something that can always change. And I think that's the tough part for anyone, no matter what position, if it's defense, offense. I think that's the thing that a lot of people are maybe not blind to see, but aren't the first thing that they think of, oh, they're not playing this year. That means that they're not good enough. They're not big enough, whatever. It's the mental side's huge.
You just chuckle now that, I faced Cody Mauch, Cordell Volson, Jalen Sundell, Nash Jensen, Jake Kubis. Yeah, that was my introduction to college football.
I think of some of the plays that I had against those guys and how bad my butt got kicked on some plays. And it's like, at the time, you're like, oh, come on, I shouldn't be this bad, or I should be doing better. And then, you look back on it and you're like, I was 18, practically barely 19. And these guys were 22, 23 years old, right, have been with Kramer for 5 or 6 years. And you're like, okay, that kind of makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, it just shows the program. that just shows how we develop kids. I mean, you look at Cordell, you look at Cody, you look at Nat, like literally look at that entire offensive line that I had my freshman year when I was a scout player, and it's like from their first time on campus to their last step off campus, they're an entirely different physical specimen, but even so much better just mentally as a person. It just goes to show how awesome NDSU is as a program.
All right, last question here. The countdown is on. The game with Colorado is going to be nationally televised, maybe the first game of the year. Have you followed that? Are the guys excited? Where are you at mentally for this? It's Colorado, Deion Sanders. Tell me about that to open up 2024.
I mean, as a team, we're preparing like it is any other game. If it's the first game of the year, if it's the last game of the year, we're going to go in, we're going to practice, we're going to get scout done, and it's not going to be anything crazy. We have a plan in place. Coach Polisic has a plan in place. He has fall camp set up. He has the summer workout set up, and we're going to prepare like we would prepare for any season. We're going to go through fall camp like we prepare for any season. And we're going to go into that first game like it's another first game of the season.
Come on. You got to give me something better than that. Come on. It's Deion. Come on. You got to be a little jacked, right?
The team's excited.
Yeah.
I think we're excited to just be able to go out there and continue to show the world that NDSU is NDSU no matter what year it is. And we have a lot to figure out. I mean, we have a lot that we have to prove from last year, and we have a lot to just kind of right some wrongs. We have a lot of things that we have to fix, and we have standards that we have set now, and we have to go meet those standards.
Man, it's great to see you, bud. Get back to work. I don't want you to get in trouble. Have a great summer. I will see you. Let's give a little bit of time before fall camp, but I'll see you soon, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Don.
There he goes, Jaxon Duttenhefer, pride of Mandan, North Dakota. He will be officially, eligibility-wise, a junior this upcoming season. He's already graduated, as he told you. Did that in 3 years. Awfully impressive stuff. Awfully impressive guy. If you're not had a chance to ever hear from him, pretty good stuff there. We'll break. We come back. We'll get you ready for the NCAA Track Championships. The Bison will be represented again in Oregon. We'll do that. We continue on the Bison Media Zone. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Bison Media Zone here. Wrap it up. Mention NDSU's athletic season is not over yet. The Bison will be again represented at the NCAA Track Championships. They begin a week from today in Eugene, Oregon. Bismarck native Matt Kraft will be going back for the second straight year in the javelin. You see him competing. This was last year at the Summit League Championships in Fargo. Once again, he won the Summit Championship in 2024. He'll be joined by NDSU senior New Zealand native Lexi Maples. She qualified in the hammer throw. She won that at the Summit League Championship in St. Paul a couple weeks ago. She placed 11th at the West Regional last weekend in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The top 12 get to go. So she threw 198 feet, 7 inches to qualify. So she'll be heading out to Eugene. Actually, we'll be interviewing Lexi later today. She's got quite the backstory coming from New Zealand to Fargo. You'll want to catch for that. And Matt Kraft from Bismarck Legacy High School going back out to the NCAA Championships. Again, they begin next week in Oregon, and we'll get you ready for that coming up next week here on the BMZ. Our thanks to Jaxon Duttenhefer for joining us. Podcast will be available later today at Inforum.com. Thanks so much for watching this week's edition of the Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra. We'll back with you next Wednesday at 10:30 here on WDAY Extra. Have a great week, everybody.